Hello everyone, it's me Mark with Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Well, today is Tuesday, so I'm going to go ahead and do my Tuesday book review. And today we have Life with Archie, number 243. This book came out in 1984. Stan Goldberg did the cover, and he did the inside art. And the story was written by Frank Doyle. And if you can't find this book, the story was reprinted. It was reprinted in Laugh Digest magazine number 84. It was reprinted in Jughead Double Digest number 87. World of Archie number 60 Digest. And Archie's Pals and Gals Digest number 114. I'm fortunate enough to have this story in a Norwegian copy also. Now, these two stories are the same for the first part. The second half of the book has different stories. And it's kind of fun because you can learn certain words in a foreign language. Like Skull Island is apparently, I can't even pronounce it. Hemilegit? Skull Island? I don't know. I can pretend that I know a foreign language though. So this story starts out with the gang. We've got Jughead and Archie, Betty and Veronica, and they're all on a pier at Veronica's dad's inn. And it's kind of funny because the name of the inn is Lodge Inn because Veronica's dad is Mr. Lodge, and that's their last name. So it's Lodge and Inn. It's kind of like a play on words, kind of funny. But anyways, it starts with the gang. They're out on the pier, and Jughead's fishing. And he's like, oh, I think I got a bite because my fishing pole's starting to shake. And Veronica's like, it's not just your pole that's shaking, it's the whole pier. And the next thing you see, Archie's like, good grief, and all the girls are screaming. Excuse me. And there's a huge great white shark, like on the picture here. And he's biting the pylon in half. And that's the beginning of Life with Archie, The Mystery of Skull Island, Part 1. And Archie's like, holy cow, the shark just bit that piling in two. And then Jughead's like, wow, look at that shark go. He's headed out towards that boat out by Skull Island. And Archie's like, come on, we gotta go tell Mr. Lodge about this. So they go back to the lodge, Mr. Lodge's lodge. And Mr. Lodge is in the office with Dalton, and they're playing with remote control cars. And Mr. Lodge is very impressed with Dalton's scientific know-how of everything, because he's been able to take over Mr. Lodge's remote control car with his controller. And then Veronica tells him about the whole shark incident down at the pier. And he's like, oh, I'm afraid this is like the 5th or 6th time this has happened. And he said, if this keeps up, we're not going to be able to get any tourists in here, and then we're going to have to close up the lodge. And the next scene, you see the whole gang, everybody, Archie and Jughead, Betty, Veronica, and Dalton. And they're headed out towards the boat, and they're like, maybe we better cancel our sea cruise. And Betty's like, that's the last thing we want to do. And Veronica's like, besides, we'll be safe if that shark comes back, because my dad has installed a harpoon gun on the front of our boat, and I know how to use it. So they all get on the boat, and they're having a nice time out there. And they bring Dalton, because Dalton wants to do some scientific research of the marine life out there, because he's always the scientist, you know. So they've got this shark cage, and Dalton and Archie put on their scuba gear, and they get in the shark cage, and like, are you sure you're safe? And they're like, we're in the shark cage, of course we're safe. So of course, as soon as they're lowered in the water, the huge great white shark shows up again. and he bites through the whole bars of the cage and destroys the shark cage. And you see Dalton and Archie, they're scrambling to get back on the boat. And like, get out of the way, everybody, the shark's trying to eat us. And just then Veronica, as the shark jumps up out of the water to grab him, Veronica shoots the harpoon gun right into the shark's mouth. Now, normally you would think, a harpoon going inside of a shark's mouth into his head would kill the shark. But no, not this shark. Now she's like, you got him, Veronica. And she's like, but look, he's still swimming away. And he's headed for that boat again over there by Skull Island. And, but he's like, this is really weird. There's no, like, shark blood in the water. It's just like an oily substance. And Veronica finds a piece of debris on the deck. And he's like, what have you... And Archie's like, what do you got, Ronnie? And she's like, it's some kind of machinery, but I don't think it's from the boat. And of course, Dalton looks at it. He knows instantly what it is because he's the smartest kid in the entire world. He's like, this is for like remote control stuff. And Betty goes, you think the shark is like a remote controlled, radio controlled shark? And Dalton's like, I think it is. And Veronica's like, why would they do that? Meanwhile, Jughead and Archie are talking, and Archie's like, we're going to take a little ride out to Skull Island tonight and see what's going on. So later in the day, you see Archie and Jughead. They're walking off alone. And they get into a rowboat because they figured no one will hear the rowboat coming. And Jughead's like, I'm not too sure about this, Archie. I think we should tell someone. Archie's like, no, we're not going to tell anyone. This is the best way to do it. And you see a shadowy figure on the edge of the dock watching them roll away. And then you... get to part 2, and it starts out with them, Archie and Jughead, rowing up to Skull Island, and there's a sign on the rocks, of course, as you approach. It says, warning, keep out, and it's got the skull and crossbones. Excuse me. And Archie's like, it doesn't look like the people on this island are very friendly. And Jughead's like, that sign kind of hurt my feelings. I think we should go back now. And Archie's like, stop being a big chicken, Jughead, let's go. And he's like, with the moon out, we'll be able to see around without our flashlight, so they won't know we're coming. And Jughead's still like whining about the whole thing. He's like, I've already seen everything I want to see, let's go back. And the next thing you know, Jughead steps on the shark. He's like, it's the shark, I stepped on the shark. Archie's like, calm down, Jughead. He's like, this thing has a funny feel, like some kind of plastic. And he has an antenna built into him. He's like, Dalton was right. This is a radio-controlled shark. And right then, the bad guy sneaks up behind him, and he's got a gun on him. He's like, all right, you two, put him up. And he takes him back to the bad guy boss. And the Jughead's like, look, they're unloading something from the boat. And Archie's like, I bet you whatever it is, it's got to be illegal. Because what else would you be doing on a boat with a remote-controlled shark except nefarious things? So the bad guy number 1 brings him up to the boss. And he's like... And Archie's being a smartass. He's telling him the whole thing. Like, instead of saying, like, oh, no, we don't have no idea what's going on. He's like, we found out you're using that phony shark to scare people away so you can keep up with your illegal, practices out here. Why you would do that, I don't know. And he's like, oh, you guys are pretty smart. He's like, too bad that's the last thing you'll ever find out. Let's take him back to the rowboat and set him off. And he's like, now start rowing back to shore, you guys. Jughead's like, Archie, are they letting us go? And Archie's like, I don't think so. He's like, all right, bad guy, number 1. Let's get back to our boat and start the shark up. He said, and that shark starts chewing them up. And it will keep everybody away for a long, long time. Next thing you see is Archie and Jughead in the boat. And they're rowing as fast as they can. And the radio-controlled shark is coming right towards them. And just as it opens its mouth and is jumping up to eat them, it stops. And it turns around. And it heads back towards the bad guy's boat. And the next thing you see is a panel. I'm going to show it later because I'm going to open the book and show you some of the panels. and the shark's chomping the back of the boat, just like in the movie Jaws. And the next thing you see is the Coast Guard coming up behind him, and it's got Betty, Veronica, Dalton, and Mr. Lodge on the Coast Guard boat, and they explain that Betty saw him sneak off, and Dalton used his remote control to override the remote control of the bad guys that were controlling the sharks. And then the Coast Guard, of course, picks up the bad guys. And the Coast Guard's like, well, thank you. We've been trying to catch these guys and their dope smuggling operation for the longest time. And Mr. Lodge is like, well, don't thank me. Just thank the kids. And the kids are like, well, that was a bit much. She's like, let's do something else totally different. They're like what? What do you want to go do? He's like, why don't we just go take in a movie? And Veronica's like, that's a good idea. Let's all go get in the car and we'll go down to the movie theater. And Archie's like, I wonder what's playing. And they're all like, who cares? They get to the movie theater and they're like, oh no, rats, double rats. And you see the marquee for the movie theater. And they can't call it Jaws, so they call it Jowls, Jowls, in 3D. And it's the poster from like the Jaws 3D movie where the shark's coming up out of the water. So it's a kind of funny story. Let me open this up. Sorry about the noise. Oh, that wasn't so bad this time. And I'll show you some of the panels. Where's the one where they're eating the boat? Where is it? See right there, so just like in the movie, the shark comes up behind the boat and starts chewing up the boat. And here they are at the movie theater. I'm like, oh no, we don't want to see a shark movie. And then the second story in this, I don't know how many of you are super familiar with a lot of the Archie stories, but the second two-part story in this book is it's about Wonder Car. It's Dalton's super duper Wonder Car. What's interesting is the story in this one is different for the second part. The first part's the same. This isn't in the best of shape, but if you look, the colors are a bit different. A little more vibrant, I think. And of course, it's in a foreign language. Show you the same pictures, like where the shark's eating the boat, and when they go to the movie theaters. The second story in this one. Oh, and of course, for some reason, European people are totally amazed with actors and actresses and singers. So I think this is everybody's birthday for this month. What is it, July? Because you've got names like Phil Collins, Holly Johnson, Andy Taylor, John Travolta, Mike Jones. It tells you the month, the day, and the year that they were all born. All my Norwegian books have something like that. The second story in here is Betty og Doris Krops Eving. And I know I'm butchering the language, and I apologize. But it's a funny story. The girls, I'm just going to go over it real quick. The girls are, I don't know what they're saying, to be 100% honest. I'm just going by the pictures, which is fun because this is how I learned how to read when I was little. My sister always had Archies. I was too little to read, but I could tell what the story was through the pictures. So Reggie and Archie leave, and the girls look mad for some reason, so they follow them to see where they're going. And the guys, they go home. I don't know how many of you guys lived in the 80s, and we're teenagers. The guys go home to watch girls do jazzercise or something on the TV. That was a big thing back in the day. So the girls get mad, and they decide that they're going to go jazzercise out by the pool, and all the guys come and look. And the guys get mad, so they get the hose and they squirt the guys and they squirt the girls to break them up like you would a dog in heat. You spray them with the hose. And then, oh, I lost the page. So the guys go back home. And they decide they're going to finish watching their aerobics jazzercise video, and the girls come in the house with the hose and hose them off. And then, of course, there's a little Sabrina story in here. And I don't know what this is. They're like little kangaroo cats or something. It looks fun. And then there's another story in here with the Archies, where I guess they're going on tour or something, and Jughead's trying to load his drum, and Reggie and Archie are screwing around, and they end up putting a hole in Jughead's drum with the football. But this is exactly how I used to read comic books back in the day, because I wasn't old enough to actually read. I might, have known a few words, but not enough to read a comic book. So that is my book review. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe. Please share. Excuse me again. Please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know that people are actually watching my videos. And I will see you Thursday. I believe I have a huge package coming with some Golden Age Grails and some Golden Age Greatness. So be sure to watch me on Thursday. I'll see you then, and remember, enjoy your comics. Bye-bye.